I know most of my tutorials are either Linux, Windows, or Mac based, but I thought I would throw this one in there. I've done some stuff on iOS before, but this RoxSyn by Yonac is probably the most interesting thing I've seen come along in the music industry, especially for guitar, in about 10 years. It is a guitar synthesizer. Now, what's neat is back in, 1990, I want to say 95, I bought a Boss. It was actually made by Roland. Guitar synthesizer. And it had this little special pickup that kind of looked like a piezo that you had to put on the guitar. And tracking was just horrendous with it. The tracking, the best it could do was like 20 some milliseconds. So you noticed it, and there was no way to get it any lower. And it costed me about, I want to say something like $2,200 or $2,300 for the whole setup. That was the foot controller, the pickup that came with it, and all of that, all of the other junk that came along with it, the rack unit, and the cables you had to have. And then I had to learn MIDI. That's the only reason I know pretty much anything about MIDI is my time spent using that and a processor that was made by a company called ART that had a rack unit and a MIDI controller that was just a regular guitar processor that had, it was like the multi-stomp box of its era. But that was the only reason I really have anything knowledge-wise with MIDI. But this is just amazing. I mean, come on. Listen to this. Right. Come on. That's awesome. The best part is this does about everything that Roland unit did, plus more, with very ultra low latency. It's easy to understand. Those old rack boxes are a pain to learn your way around their interface. And it's mostly just like numbers and, half written out words because they're basically 2-line of old calculator style interfaces. And I'm not into that any longer. I get it. Hardware is cool, but if it's digital hardware, forget it. There's some really cool stuff you can do with it. So these are just ARPs, as you can see on the screen here. But we'll look at the interface. Let's find something that's here's some pads, flashback. I mean, isn't that awesome? The Great Walrus, or Great Walrus, it says. Come on. How many guitar pedals would you have to put together to get this kind of thing? Now, this is not synthesized audio in the way that the Roland was that I had back in the day. It's not taking the guitar sound and then running it through some sort of like pitch algorithm and then turning it into another waveform, which is kind of what most synthesizers do. That's not what this is doing. This is synthesizing the guitar, so there's no real latency at all. The only latency is the latency of your audio interface and the iPad. which if you've got anything made after, like 2017 or newer iPad, you shouldn't be having heavy latency at all. I'm using AUM, which is basically a little mixing app where you can like add plugins and use it as sort of a mixer for audio, and it does a really good job. But the cool part about this synth is it's based on, I think, this is just my opinion, I think it's based on phase distortion, and it uses really awesome filter shapes to take your guitar's actual tone and process it in a way that sounds like a synthesizer. It's not really a synthesizer, but it can do everything a synthesizer can do. Filter sweeps, all that kind of cool stuff, arpeggiations, and I mean, some of this stuff is just amazing sounding. And the best part is there's no latency. I mean, like none. There's not any latency whatsoever between my guitar, me touching the strings, and what comes back out the speakers at me. So I'm going to do a little demo of this for you for a few minutes here, and let you hear what some of the things it can do. This is an organ sound. Sounds like an old Vox Continental in a way. And now the one thing I didn't care for was how they set up the filter setups. So you can kind of do your own. It has two filters, and each of the three voices can be sent to either of the two filters. The filter is down here, if you can see the knob that's turning. This is the filter area. And the only thing I could see that honestly needs improving is it needs a gate for the noise. I have not figured out a way. Now, there may be a way to gate the noise as you need it. But you can't really gate the noise now. Or if there is a way, I can't logically find it. So that may be a user problem, and it may be my fault. But it has some effects. It has a chorus and a flanger. Let's find a something that's pretty easily to hear each time. Too much. Ooh, that certain chords, man, when they're moved around as far as pitch, it's like, oh, that could be bad. That's as fast as I could possibly play, and there was no missed notes that were... Every note that I played was played through the synthesizer. It didn't miss anything. So I think this is based off of like a phase distortion kind of setup. Which is a very genius way of doing it. It also has... Not only does it have a chorus and flanger... It also has a reverb that sounds really good, actually. So you can hear the reverb. Let's switch over to the flanger here. Back to the chorus. There's also a phaser. An EQ. Ooh, bad note. Ah. A delay as well. The delay can go up to 2,000 milliseconds. So, I mean, a pretty long delay. You can have pretty long delay times. So. Now, one thing, if you're coming from the guitar world and you don't really understand synthesizers, the one thing that may drive you insane is the filter section and the ADSR. That's your attack, sustain, decay, and release. Now, the thing about that is, if it's set, you can, no matter how long you hold the note, if the sustain is only set to be on so long, the note's going to be cut off, and it's going to feel kind of weird at first. So you have to learn to work with the ADSR. It's not very intuitive, especially if you're a guitar player like I am, who uses a lot of heavy compression on his amp to get heavy, long, sustain notes. But you have your filter, ADSR, and then the VCA's ADSR. You can basically just open it completely up. Now you can also change the notes to 2 octaves down to one, between 2 octaves down and 1 octave up. And each voice has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different, I don't want to call them waveforms, but we'll go through them. Here's A. Here's B. Here's C. D. And E. They're very similar, but combining these, they're so close. A lot of people go, well, that's kind of all the same, isn't it? No, they're not. But they're really similar, and this is a good thing, because you can use like A, D, and I don't know, C, and get a very interesting kind of setup going on. Turn that down just a little bit. bends, no problem. So as you can hear, it can even do it subtly. Whereas something like the MIDI guitar app that's on the iPad and in the iOS store can't really do that. You have to set how far the bends go. So they're either going to be whole notes of basically going, or they're going to be half of that. So with this, you can just bend as much as you want. And it reads it in real time. Now you say, well, where's the square wave and where's the triangle and all that? Well, that's not here. This is its own special thing. It's kind of think of it as basically it's a phase distortion synthesizer for guitar. It's basically, this is the DX7 of guitar synthesizers. It has its own kind of vector synth kind of thing going on. So I'll go through some of the presets real quick and let you hear some of them. I've talked enough, and I'm sure you want to hear what it sounds like. Some of those things are so odd, I don't know what to play with them on guitar sometimes. I mean, come on. Very cool. Very interesting. I'll show off some of these ARPs here real quick. See, that would be good if you needed that part, especially for rhythm guitar players. Let's say you're a rhythm guitar player and your lead guitar player is going to take, like, it's just going to be him, so everybody else can go, like, get a beer or or go to the bathroom or whatever they need to do in the middle of a set, and you all can work out something as the rhythm guitar player and the lead guitar player. You could use something like this for the lead guitar player to play over. Just think of the ideas. And once you learn your way around the interface too, oh my gosh, then you'll have all kinds of options to do all kinds of stuff. Here's some basses as well. So those are some of the cool things you can do with this. It's just amazing for what it can do. You just have to learn your way around that ADSR, man. It's very different to guitar players because they're used to using their hands as their ADSR, and it's something that takes your hands and your sustain out of. You can play without having to deal with the ADSR, but if you can learn to work with it, it becomes an even more powerful tool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great day, y'all. Leave a like, subscribe, share it on social media if you thought this was cool. Let all your guitar player friends know about it. Sorry about the bad guitar playing. Hey, man, I'm just an engineer and not really a musician all that much. So not as good as you guys, I'm sure. So have a great day, y'all, and we'll see you next time.